Starting off in this location, you have your expansion tank and pressure cap. This pipe is used to take the expanded coolant to the expansion tank. Right next to the expansion tank, you have your high pressure pipe and dust cover for one of your air conditioning recharge points. Underneath the expansion tank, you've got your coolant supply pipe. You also have in this location your evap pipe, you also have your other air conditioning pipe, your low pressure pipe, and you also have part of your scuttle panel. Looking down onto the offside chassis rail, you can see your evap solenoid. One thing I forgot to mention is out of shot you have your evap canister. Moving up to this location, you have the back of your offside headlight module. On the back of the headlight module, you have one of your service covers to allow service personnel to gain access to the interior of the headlight, your electrical connector to control and power that headlight module, your service adjustment to allow service personnel to adjust headlight aim for this side, your other service cover, and information about that headlight module. Moving the camera to this location, you can see your other dust cover for your other air conditioning recharge point, and you have your brake fluids cap and tank. Moving closer in this location, you have your low brake fluid level sensor, your master cylinder, both of your pipes that takes brake fluid to and from your ABS modulator, your supply pipe that takes brake fluid to your clutch control circuit, and your vacuum brake booster and vacuum sensor. You also have your vacuum supply line as well. Moving the camera to the right, you can see your pre-cat O2 sensor. You also have heat shielding that covers your turbocharger turbine housing. You also have in this location one of your engine crane hook attachment locations, both your pipes that goes to and from your heater matrix, your ABS modulator which I'll be covering later in the video, your bulkhead and sound deadening. Looking down onto your intercooler pipe, you can see your vacuum diaphragm for your wastegate actuator. Moving the camera down to this location, you can see your post-cat O2 sensor. This sensor is used by the engine control unit to measure catalytic converter efficiency. You also have in this location both your selector cables for your manual transmission, more heat shielding, and you can just see aerodynamic shielding. Back in this location, located directly above your engine mount bracket for the offside, you have 3 pipes. One is your fuel supply pipe, the other one is your fuel return pipe, and the other one leads to your evap solenoid. With the camera in this location, you can just see the rubber that is used to reduce vibrations from the powertrain from going into the chassis. This pipe here takes fuel to your fuel rail. Moving over to this location, you can see your map sensor. With the camera in this position, you can see quite a few different components here. For example, you can see your dump valve with pipe that is part of the system, a pipe that connects to a other pipe that is just after your airbox, one of your positive crankcase ventilation system pipes, your intake manifold with one of its runners, your fuel pressure regulator, throttle body, and other engine crane hook attachment location. Underneath one of your intake manifold runners, you can see one of your coolant pipes, and below that you have your alternator. Now on the alternator, you can see your coolant holes and stator windings. Located just in front of your alternator, you have your intercooler. Just in front of your dump valve assembly, you have your air intake pipe. Now this pipe leads to your air filter box. Under that same pipe, you have your throttle body in more detail. You also have in this location a pipe that's part of your dump valve system, and your outlet pipe that leads to your intercooler. Located further down in this location, you can see your cooling fan and electrical connector to control and power that cooling fan. Moving the camera to this location, you have your 12-volt battery. Now on the 12-volt battery, you have your negative post, your battery monitoring sensor, your battery grab handle, and your protective cover that covers your positive post. Moving the camera more closer to the 12-volt battery, you have information about the 12-volt battery. The 12-volt battery in this car sits on a battery tray. This component here is part of your system that holds the battery in the car. Just behind your near side headlight, you can see protective covering that covers your bonnet release cable. This component here you can remove to gain access to your air filter element. To the right of the airbox, you have your engine control unit. This engine control unit consists of a couple of electrical connectors. Now to the right of the engine control unit, you have your box lid for one of your power distribution centers. Moving the camera to this location, you can see your air filter box in more detail. Just behind the air filter box, you have your ABS modulator. Now on the modulator, you have your pump, your 2 brake lines that goes to and from your master cylinder, your electrical connector for the ABS control unit, and all 4 of your brake lines. And right at the bottom of the engine compartment you can see your anti-roll bar and one of its bushes, and you can also see one of your track rod boots. Moving the camera to this location, you can see your oil filler cap and dipstick. You also have in this location all three of your coil packs, 1, 2 and 3. Located right next to the pipe that's just after your air filter box, you have this component here. Now this component here is a solenoid that controls your wastegate diaphragm. Underneath your recirculation pipe, you've got this electrical connector here for one of your camshaft position sensors. Looking down onto the transmission, you can see your transmission vent line. You also have your coolant temperature sensor, and you also have one of your big electrical wiring harnesses. One thing I forgot to mention is you also have your thermostat housing in this location. Looking down onto the slam panel, you can see one of your locating bumpers for the bonnet, a piece of rubber that is used to prevent water from coming into the engine compartment via the front of the car, your bonnet safety latch release lever, a cutout for your bonnet safety latch, a cutout for your washer fluid cap and neck, and information about what refrigerant the air conditioning system takes. And you also have other information. Located at the bottom near side of the engine compartment, you can see quite a few different components here. For example, you can see your near side drive shaft and constant velocity tripod joint dust cover. You also have your near side control arm, and underneath the engine compartment you have your aerodynamic shield. Thank you very much for watching my video, and goodbye.